Welcome to Brain Rules for Aging, keeping your brain fit through the years, how friendships improve your thinking by John Medina, which is me. Our subject today concerns friendships and aging. I'd like to begin with an example of a friendship between two high school guys. It's a text string, naturally, and starts out as you might expect two guys might text each other. Dude! And his friend responds, Yeah? You know what would be awesome to do on a boring day? What? What? Tell me, the friend responds. He says, Okay, so we should go to some big box store and then hide in those closet thingies. And then when someone walks by, we walk out and say, I'm back from Narnia. And he responds, This is why we're best friends. Now, I have to be honest. I hope they preserve that text when they get older. The reason is that they're going to need it. Research shows friendships are good for the brain at any age, especially as we get older, but we begin spending more time alone as we age, more isolated. Take a look at the numbers of this fact. With whom we spend our time socially, assayed across a lifetime, hours per day, and the chronological age. So, time we spend with children, this is what it looks like. Peaks around 25 to 30 and then decreases. Time we spend with a partner, generally a spouse, that looks like that. Time we spend with coworkers, as you might expect, you'd get a graph that looks a little bit like this. And then finally, folks, time we spend alone. Looks like that and increases. So alone, partner, children, coworkers. When you age, you're increasingly isolated, and that's a problem. Socialization is so important to overall brain function that if you stop interacting with people as you get older, your risk for debilitating dementia dramatically increases. And I do mean dramatic. Increase in overall risk of dementia in lonely people compared to socially active populations has been studied, and look at this number, a whopping 40%. Want additional proof? Here's some work that surprised a lot of people when it was published, yet made perfect sense all at the same time. Consider what happens when the two senses most involved in your social interactions, hearing and vision, begin to erode. Let's start with hearing loss. Hearing loss. Age related hearing loss is an unpleasant fact of life for most seniors, that's for sure. Socialization effects. Hearing loss leads to a loss of social interaction, general social withdrawal, and increased risk of depression, which ends up having an hypothesis. There's a logical extension. If hearing tests were administered every few months, providing aid where needed, socializing behavior would increase, deriving measurable cognitive benefits. Wow, that's exactly what you find. Monitoring hearing decreases the risk of dementia by half. By half, you guys! And that's just the auditory experiences. You can also show this with that other sense we were talking about. That other sense, of course, is vision. Vision loss. Age related vision loss is an unpleasant fact of life for most seniors, and it is. Socialization effects. Vision loss leads to a loss of social interaction, general social withdrawal, and increased risk of depression, which leads to another hypothesis and a logical extension. If vision tests were administered every few months, providing aid where needed, socializing behavior would increase, deriving measurable cognitive benefits, folks. That's exactly what you find. Not monitoring vision increases the risk of dementia 2.5 times. Adding the test decreases the risk. This is a big deal, and it's also not an opinion. You need friends as you get older. If you need further proof and want to know more about the details, well, then you've come to the right place. We're about to get into the weeds about why you should contact your buddies when you become elderly and find some place where you both can come back from Narnia.